So today I have a pretty interesting watch from CIGA Design. The watch is the Magician, and it is appropriately named for what it is capable of doing. It's a 3-in-1 watch, and the watch comes with 3 interchangeable outer cases, so you can change up the look of the watch completely. I will say straight off the bat, this one won't be for everyone. It's got a pretty wild design, and I could see it being a no-go for some of you guys, but I think it's a really neat watch. Full disclosure, this watch was gifted to the channel for free from CIGA Design, but like always, they have zero input into the content of today's video. So let's get to it and take a look at the watch. Now, if you missed it, I did do an unboxing of this watch, but I'll show again just how this kind of comes out. This is my second watch from CIGA Design, and the first was similar with this book-style packaging. It's pretty cool how they did the name with the cutouts on the outer sleeve. One thing I just found out, actually, somehow there is a code in this book, and I'm sure you use the sleeve to decode it. If you buy one of these watches and send that code to CIGA Design, they're going to have some sort of a gift for you. So that's kind of an interesting little extra there. Inside the watch, or rather the book, we have the magic on your wrist. Some instructions here. There is a little card that just fell down. Sorry if we're out of focus. This is where the watch and the 3 different cases are. There's also the strap there. And in the back side of the book, we have a little bit of information on the company. So I've got the watch set up on the circular case here first. We'll get to the other cases soon, but I want to talk about the dial/movement first. Straight away, you can probably tell this is not the most legible watch out there. This might possibly be the least legible watch I've ever gotten hands on with, but that's not what this is all about. This is meant to be just a fun and unique design, and it is. The movement is the CIGA Design CD03. They call it an in-house movement. It's possibly a clone of another movement, but if so, it has been heavily modified. It's got a pretty neat cog-shaped design with those teeth around the edge of the movement, which are also the minute markers for the watch. The movement appears almost like magic to be floating in the case, but they're using a transparent movement holder to give it that look. So you might not notice it at first, but we do have a second hand. Sort of. It's not a hand, but a rotating circular gear-shaped seconds. There's no pointer, so you're not going to get an accurate read of the time down to the second, but it does look cool. The hands have an interesting shape. They tend to blend into the dial/movement sometimes, but this watch was clearly never about being an easy-to-read watch. The lume is pretty cool looking too. It's fairly bright and quite long lasting. No markers loomed to get the orientation right in the dark, but the designer at CIGA is definitely a form over function guy. My first experience with CIGA was the Blue Planet, and that was the case with that watch too. I'm usually the opposite with watches I buy. I want high legibility, good lume, water resistance, all that over form, but it's just good fun to have a watch like this in the rotation. So again, we have a total of 3 cases, but I just wanted to show you what the watch looks like with no case on, and you can see on either end of the watch we have a little button there where it reads push, which is sort of between the lug areas of the watch. When we have a case installed, to install a case, it just snaps in place. Really tight tolerances. It doesn't feel like it is going anywhere. It feels like a part of the watch once it's installed. To remove, we just push those 2 buttons at the same time, and the case comes off very easily. I've seen a few modular watches where you can swap bezels, stuff like that, to change up the look of a watch, but I've never seen anything quite like this. Now, I've had the watch for a few days now, and I've worn all 3 of the cases at least one day, although the circular one is the one that ended up on the watch most of the time. My favorite of the three is actually my least worn, which is this tonneau sort of style case. I like the look a lot with all the little angles and details, but I found that it wears not quite as well as the others. Really neat looking case, but I think it's due to the longer lug to lug, which is 52.2 millimeters on this one. It's also got the largest, I believe this is the largest case width at 46 millimeters. And actually, while we're talking measurements, the thickness on this is 10.7 millimeters and the lug opening 22 millimeters. Crystal on the watch, by the way, is sapphire, and the water resist is only 30 meters, which is a little light for me, but you just have to watch out for that. And here it is on the square case, and you can see it really totally changes up the look of the watch. I like the hollowed out areas at the four corners of the case. Kind of an industrial look to it. I find this one particularly accentuates the fixed bezel. Not much of a turn down of the lugs with this one, but the lug to lug is a fair amount shorter than the last at 49.2 millimeters. Case width on this one is 44.2 millimeters. And we are back on the circular case, and this one for me wears the best. Maybe not as funky or flashy as the other two, but I found I like this one the most. The lug to lug is 49 millimeters, and the lugs have more of a turn down to them, which helps it sit on my wrist better than the others. Case width is 45 millimeters. The crown, by the way, is a signed push-pull crown. Winding action is pretty decent. It's a bit of grit too, but it's not too bad. The strap is very good. It's an FKM rubber strap, and it is super soft to the touch. It's really flexible, but it's thick enough that the watch feels secure on wrist. It's a bit of a heavier watch, and some of the thinner, flimsier straps, it might kind of flop around a little on wrist, but very happy with the strap. Now, apparently there's going to be more than one version of this watch. This one is stainless steel, so I'm not sure if they're maybe going to do a titanium or something along those lines, or just different color options. But these are launching on Indiegogo this August with a price range between 600 and 900 USD, and full MSRP will eventually be approximately $200 more than that. So that is it. I'll leave a link to where you can find more information on these in the description below. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes to stop by today, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.